This episode of Test Drive is brought to you by Elmec and their EV Duty Smart Home Charger.
Here on PRN Test Drive, we've had the pleasure to drive many Chrysler Pacificas. In fact, this is the fifth one that we featured on the show since we first started doing new car reviews back in 2018. This is a 2024 Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid, and this also has the Road Tripper package. Now, things have changed just a tiny bit from 2023. Used to be an option, now it's more of a package. And there really are no other options on this. The only thing you could add is the uConnect theater to the back seats, which is a good plus to have if you're taking this on a road trip. But today, not only are we going to talk about what the Chrysler Pacifica has to offer, but why this really is the best vehicle to choose if you're looking to be able to put a number of people in here. If you've got a family, you got some sort of business that you drive a lot of people, whatever it may be, this is a much better option than an SUV. We're going to be going over all of that today here on Test Drive, as well as some of the reasons why this might be $70,000 here in Canada and why you might want to be considering it. I know it's a little bit pricey, but there is a lot going for it. The Chrysler minivans have been the hallmark of people movers for the last 40 years. And despite the price going up quite a bit, it is still the benchmark. I say that this is the most versatile and flexible vehicle you can buy today. This is a plug-in hybrid, comes as a front-wheel drive only, but you can also get an all-wheel drive version with the regular gas engine. You also have the option for 7-passenger seating or 8-passenger seating. The seats can fold flat with stow and go. Now with our hybrid, you don't get the second row stow and go, but the trunk still folds flat, so you can still have 4 passengers in here with tons of trunk space. So there's a lot of good reasons why you would want to consider a vehicle like a minivan over an SUV. And that's just some of the functionality of it. The drive, ride, and handling on these is so much better than any other SUV that we've driven. You really can't get anything quite like this unless you go for a minivan. That's one of the reasons why we've always loved these vehicles here on Test Drive. They just are really good. And the thing is, people don't really want to buy them anymore because they're not sexy anymore. Well, they've never been sexy, but I'll tell you right now that nobody thinks that you're sexy in your SUV either. So you might as well get something that has the flexibility to get you what you need. And that's really what a minivan has to offer. So like I said, we are sitting around the $70,000 price point here in Canada. Price went up by about $1,800 in Canada, or about $1,200 in the US from the 23 model years. And again, there's not too much change. They haven't really added much. The Pinnacle, the top end trim, gets a couple additions, couple paint colors throughout. There's only 3 paint colors available if you go with the Road Tripper, this being the default non-cost paint job on it, which is fine. And then really the only thing that was added to the Pacifica is the emergency vehicle alert system. So if you're driving along and there's a fire truck or ambulance or police car that uses that system, it will alert you to let you know that there's something coming along. We'll be seeing a lot more vehicles equipped with that down the road. But what's underneath the hood of this vehicle? This is still the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 engine that we've come to know, but it is an Atkinson cycle on it. So it doesn't have quite as much power, and the idea is you're going more for the electric side of things. It produces about 260 horsepower combined. There are 2 electric motors out of this with a 16 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery. Chrysler says that's good for about 39 miles or about 53 kilometers. We've seen about that. We'll talk about our fuel economy testing when we go on the road. To get this fully charged at a level 2 charger like our EV Duty Smart Home Charger is anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, not very long at all. So if you do a lot of in-town stuff, you're maybe using almost that 50 kilometer range all the time, but you can charge it up pretty quickly, you're going to be saving a ton of money on gas, because so far our fuel economy has been really good. We're going to be talking about all of that as we go on the road. Let's talk about what the interior feels like, comfort and all that, and again, the reasons why you should consider a minivan over an SUV. Behind the wheel now of the 2024 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid PHEV Road Tripper. That is the official name for this vehicle. I want to talk about the fuel economy numbers first because that is the most important when it comes to electric vehicle testing or electrified vehicle testing. We completed our 100 kilometer test loop with a full battery charge in 6.3 liters per 100 kilometers. The US miles per gallon is below in the lower third. We completed that in about 37.3 kilometers fully electric before the gas system had to kick in. Now, again, our test loop is pretty highway dependent. It's almost 100% highway. It's like 90% highway, 10% in the city. So, you know, your results will obviously vary, but if we compare it to how we did without a charge, so essentially running as a normal hybrid, it did 7.2 liters per 100 kilometers, which is actually pretty good. Now, we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we featured not only the Jeep Wrangler 4xe plug-in hybrid, but also the Grand Cherokee plug-in hybrid. Both of them seem to calculate sort of a liters equivalent per 100 kilometers when you're in electric mode, because I've noticed if I keep the vehicle in EV mode, which it does for the most part, it's still giving me a liters per 100 kilometers. So those numbers are a little bit higher, but I think it's factoring in, you know, what the cost is maybe of electricity or what the equivalent is. So whatever it is, numbers are a little bit higher than we would see if it was on a different brand of vehicle, but still extremely good numbers overall. Again, front wheel drive only if you're going with the plug-in hybrid. And then if you go with a regular non-hybrid, you do have the option for all-wheel drive depending on which trim you go with. But let's talk about the interior of this vehicle. The first thing you notice when you get in are the floors. They are completely flat. Obviously, there's no transmission tunnel, but when you get in and out of the vehicle from any door, the doors don't have a lip around them. That's amazing. If you have some mobility issues and it's not quite easy to get your legs up and over a large hump, some vehicles can be pretty big. This is a great vehicle to have. So really easy ingress and egress, all three rows. You know, I can get into the third row. Don't make me do it. I've done it before, but you do have access there. Second row's obviously easy with the power sliding doors. Interior here is pretty well optioned. I mean, yeah, we're sitting at $70,000 Canadian. It is kind of pricey. Prices have come up from the last couple times we've been doing these vehicles, but so has everything else. But you do get quite a lot for it. We have pretty much all the safety tech that I would want. I do have adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring. All of that stuff is good to have. We have 360-degree cameras, as well as the fam cam, which could be good, especially if you have young kids. There is a camera mounted in the headliner in the back. You can pull it up and see what your kids are doing, and you can also zoom in on the different seats. So that's some good stuff there. You get that by adding the uConnect family entertainment system that gives you the 2 screens in the back with Amazon Fire TVs in the back there. We again tested that out with the Grand Cherokee. You do need to have a data connection for it to do anything, which you could have through the vehicle here. There is built-in Wi-Fi, but you have to pay for that. So if you've got a phone that has unlimited data or some sort of mobile hotspot, you can do that as well. But the point is, they work really well. Nice to have back there. You know, speaker system and all that sounds really good. Seat comfort, fantastic. And again, you know, the ride and drive of this is really superb. That's the reason why you're going to be taking this, because we've driven a number of SUVs recently that were kind of harsh on the road. Mazda CX-90, for example, was one of them. But even things like the Grand Cherokee that we had wasn't super smooth on the road. This is smooth. Oh my God, I love it. It's just so good. And I know I'm like gushing over a minivan, but I'm telling you, if you haven't driven a modern minivan, whether it's Chrysler Pacifica, Kia Carnival, Honda Odyssey, the Toyota Sienna, right? Any of those options are awesome. They are just so good. You got to try it out. So I really do like the ride of this. It's not powerful, you know, 260 horsepower is plenty enough. So it's not like you're going to be speeding around and ripping it, and that's fine. Why would you buy a plug-in hybrid if you're going to be wasting gas, right? So I really do feel that this is the most flexible and versatile vehicle that you can buy right now, just because you've got so many options. Again, all-wheel drive, plug-in hybrid, seat configurations, fold everything flat, take everything out, whatever you want to do. The Chrysler Pacifica does it. And that's what's great about it. And that's why, like, I never understand when people ask me, like, oh, I need a vehicle, I need 3 rows, I need to be able to put like 6 to 7 people in it comfortably, and, you know, blah blah blah. What do I buy? It's a minivan. The answer is always the minivan. But people don't want it, again, because they just, you know, they don't feel it sexy anymore, or it never was, but they don't feel it sexy, and that's fine. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what you're driving. Just get something that makes the most sense for you. And this definitely does for me. Even though we only have 1 child, I've only got 3 people in this car at a maximum, it is the flexibility that works out well. Because, you know, for example, this weekend I'm going to be going to see my folks. They can jump in the vehicle, no problem. There's tons of space. We only need 1 vehicle. But the back seats are flat right now, like completely flat. So I can load it up with a whole bunch of stuff, which is perfect for road tripping. And then if you really need those seats up, you just pop them up. It's great. Like, I can't talk about it enough how good these vehicles are. And now I mean, the thing is, that's the only downside now. Because this is so expensive, because it is $70,000 for this, you know, when you compare it to other three-row SUVs, it does sit a little pricier. Is it still as good of a value as it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago when we were featuring it before? I'd still say yes, because obviously a lot of other vehicles have gone up in price quite a bit over the last little while, so it is still tough to get into something that is relatively affordable, but you do get quite a bit for it. So I do like it quite a bit. I think the Road Tripper package adds some fun bits to it. I mean, it's nothing mechanical that's changing. The rims are actually pretty nice on this, 18 inches. You get 20 inches if you go with the non-plug-in hybrid. You're just getting some different colors on the exterior. So Chrysler calls a granite crystal accents on the exterior. So for example, like the door handles, the mirror caps, things like that are a gray color. It looks really nice. Overall, it's a nice additional option that you can add to this vehicle. And really, you know, we've talked about the Pacifica before as a road trip vehicle. We've done it with a number of them before. It is super comfortable. So while it's not really adding anything to the vehicle that, you know, you couldn't get otherwise, this particular package now as more of like a trim package, like it's weird how Chrysler's doing it now, but it kind of makes more sense. So I'm expecting to see more of these. They do stand out a little bit. You've got the Road Tripper badging on the side in that gray color with orange accents, along with the center caps of the wheels. They have a orange accent to the Chrysler badge. So I think it looks good overall. I'm really impressed with this vehicle. You know, I always jump at the chance to drive minivans. I do love them. And like I said, ultimately it comes down to versatility. That is what this is. There's nothing on the market that has as much versatility as a minivan. But like I said, you know, price. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Is this a vehicle that you would be considering if you were in the market for a three-row vehicle? Plug-in hybrid or all-wheel drive, you've got the options there. Let us know in the comments below. We always get back to everybody. Just leave a comment below. Give us a like if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel as it helps us. We're currently almost at 47,000 subscribers. We'd like to get to 50,000 as quickly as possible, and then on to the next milestone of 100,000. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until next time, take care.